Millz Young here, who's ready to bet on UFC. Me, that's who. So I'm going to be going over this week's card, headlined by Brandon Allen taking on Paul Craig. We got about 13 fights to talk about. Some of them just got put onto the card as of today, as we're doing these videos and predictions. So, got to bear with us on some of them. You know how fights go. Some get canceled, some don't. But what you guys think about last week's card? Two new champions. Alex Pereira knocked out Yuri Prochazka in the main event. Tom Aspinall finished Pavlich inside the distance as well. Yeah, man, it was some great fights on the main card, man. It was nothing but finishes, so you can't ask for anything more on the main card. But so let me know what you guys thought about all the fights last week. All right, now look, this week we got some good fights to talk about. Some, ain't really worth mentioning too much, so we're just going to keep it going as we know. Some I don't got the odds on, so I don't know who's going to be the favorite and who's going to be the underdog yet, but, we'll figure that out as the card goes. All right, first fight of the card, Christian Leroy Duncan, 8-1, takes on Dennis Tulin. Christian Leroy Duncan made his UFC debut last time out against a fighter to where I forget who was against, but he just looked bad. He was scared to strike. He was running in the cage. He was supposed to be a hyped-up prospect that looked good in his other fights. So we was expecting to see a lot from him showing up. He didn't look good at all, folks. Dennis Tulin, we've seen him fight 3 times now in the UFC. He's one of those guys that's kind of a slow striker. He can mix in takedowns. Got decent hands, decent power, solid defense. I don't know which way we're going to go in this fight just based on how Christian Leroy Duncan looked in his last one. So I'm going to go ahead and say Dennis Tulin gets the win in this one, man. He's probably going to be the underdog too because, they're trying to hype up this guy as well. So until Duncan wins in the UFC and shows me that he's capable of winning, I'm not betting on him ever again. Next fight on the card. Fighter I like, Lucas Alexander, 8 wins, 3 losses, representing Brazil, taking on Jaka Serra. All right, man, big betting favorite on here. Lucas Alexander opened up, I want to say, a minus 375 favorite. Went up to a minus 5-1 favorite now. He looked good in his UFC debut. He's a legit striker. Looks to finish his opponents when he can. Puts on a good pace. Nice volume out there. On the mic, he always has something nice to say, too, after he gets the win. Jaka Serra, he was fighting on the UFC. Welcome to UFC fighters that's trying to get into the UFC, fighting on those, overseen South Asian promotions. So he lost against his opponent, Jubilee. And Jubilee that we just seen fight in the UFC, he got gassed out and lost in the 3rd round. I just like the favorite in this fight. I think he gets this one done. Keep it moving on the card. This fight's going to be a good one. Charles Johnson, 13 wins, 5 losses, taking on Rafael Esteban, 11-0. Rafael Esteban made his UFC debut on the Contender Series. Since then, we haven't really seen him. He's a wrestler out there. He looks to push the pace, try to get you to the ground and see what he can do. Lays on top of you, looks to finish you when he can. On the other side, Charles Johnson is a fighter out there that we all come to know in the UFC and the MMA community. Came up out of the LFA promotions, won multiple belts in there. Came up to the UFC and he was taking fight after fight. He would take a short notice fight in 3 weeks and bounce back in 6 weeks and take another one. One of the more active fighters in the division out there for all the flyweights. Pushes the pace out there, good striking. He does struggle with the takedowns though, but hey, when he's on a good camp, he's usually in there winning. It's when he takes these short notice fights to where, he's usually out there losing sometimes. It's going to be a typical matchup where you're going to see striker versus grappler in this one. I think Charles Johnson gets this one done, man. I'm going to go ahead and say he gets this one done in this one, man. Yeah, he's on a full camp right now, and he knows right now, man, you can't just keep taking a loss and win, loss, and win in this UFC and try to stick around no matter how active you are. So I think he's going to, get the win on this one, too. Nice little price tag on it. As long as he can stuff the takedowns for him, he should be able to get this one done. Next fight on the card, Jose Johnson versus Chad Angler. Oh, man. This one. Jose Johnson's opened up a minus 180 favorite versus Chad Angler. Oh, my gosh. This one shouldn't even be. I don't know why this one's on the card. we have two fighters, folks, that I don't really believe that are like UFC worthy. Jose Johnson just fought. Jose Johnson, no relation to Charles Johnson, is a guy out there, he has a long, tall frame. He goes out there and he tries to wrestle, but he's not really too good at it once he gets you down to the ground. Chad Heller, we seen him fight before in the UFC. He's capable of being in good fights. I'll give him that. He's representing for Canada out there. When it comes down to it, in this fight, I think Chad Englander is really live in this one, man. He has more of that dog in him than I've seen in Jose Johnson in there. So, I wouldn't be surprised if Chad Englander, and man, I don't know why I can't pronounce his name now, man. That's how it goes. But let's go, man. I think he gets it done, man. Next fight on the card. This one's going to be a good one. Jonathan Pierce, 14 wins, 4 losses, taking on Joanderson Brito. Joanderson Brito, 15 wins, 3 losses. The betting line has Jonathan Pierce a -130 favorite on there. And Brito, he's one of those guys to where he can go out there and finish anybody. He was a big favorite in his last fight out. Went out there, put the guy out inside the distance. Wasn't a question. Went out there, looked good against Philly too when he fought him as well. Jonathan Pierce is a guy to where when you bet him what you're going to get. He trains over the Fight Ready, one of the better gyms in the whole MMA promotion. So he's going to go out there and try to rinse and repeat, take you down, and take you down. On the feet, he's not going to be out of bounds and trying to do something that he's not good at. So he's not going to stand there and try to strike with Joanderson Brito. I think the betting line on this fight is a good price if you guys want to hop on it, man. I like Jonathan Pierce in this one at a -125 out there, -130. I think he gets this one done in there. Brito is live for a KO, but, I think Pierce might have that game plan to just stay out of harm's way, take him down, get him tired, 3rd round, and hey, man, we might even be able to get a ground and pound sub or anything like that, man, because Brito does gas out later on in the fights, so you got to keep that in mind. But I'll tell you like this. I like Jonathan Pierce in this spot. Let's go ahead and get this money on this one. Next fight on the card, Mick Parkins, 7-0, taking on Kyle Machado, 8-1-1. All right, man. Mick Parkins a big favorite, big heavyweights in this spot when you see him. Made his UFC debut last time out against Jamal Pogues. He was able to get it done in a fight that I actually thought it was close, and I thought they were going to give it to Jamal Pogues, but they didn't. And Jamal Pogues was a favorite, I want to say, in that fight. Mick Parkins trains with the likes of Tom Aspinall, the new heavyweight interim champion. So, he's going to be having people like that in his camp. Kyle Machado, he made his UFC debut on the Contender Series. Now we got to see what we got with him. I think Mick Parkins a -300 favorite in here. I think he gets this one done, if you ask me. Next fight on the card, 2 women stepping up to take place in a nice little bantamweight match. Who do we got? We got Eliane Perez, 8 wins, 2 losses, taking on Lucy Piladova, 14 wins, 8 losses. All right. Eliane Perez is like a -170 favorite, I want to say, out here. Come back on Padova is pretty good. I had Lucy in the last fight, man, against Jocelyn Edwards, in a fight that she was winning and won pretty much, but the judges gave it the other way. It was one of the... It hurt, man. Everybody knows she won the fight, but the judges gave it the other way. It was just crazy. The strikes, she outstruck her. She had her with takedown. Enough about that. I like her in this spot, man. She's one of those girls that's, kind of not great at everything, but good at everything. She can mix it up, and she's not just going to stay in one lane. Eliane Perez has a good first round. Good explosive, trying to take your head off and see what you can do. But then after that, as the fight goes, her cardio and her gas tank goes. She got by with like fighting not top tier fighters to get her record here. It's kind of padded. You see what happens when she fights people with better MMA levels than her. She's not even able to compete. So she's 1-1 in the UFC. I wonder why she's the big favorite on there, man. I like Lucy Padova. I think the dog's out the cage in that one. The next fight taking place, We got a good one in the lightweight division. Nicholas Mata, 13 wins, 5 losses, taking on Trey Ogden, 16 wins, 6 losses. Nicholas Mata is a slight favorite on the fight card. Minus 125, minus 135. I think he's 1-2 in the UFC. Trey Ogden, I want to say he probably has the same record too. You're going to have a typical wrestler versus striker in this one. Trey Ogden's going to try to go for the takedowns. Nicholas Mata's going to try to keep it on the feet. If he can keep it on the feet, you know, he can outstrike him and keep the pace. I think Nicholas Mata gets this one done in here. Moving on to the card. Urso Medic, 9 wins, 1 loss. New opponent, okay, stepping up. Mytebek Oyabal, 11 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. Oyabal just fought on LFA in October 27th. I just seen him fight. He was the main event in them. Just before that, he fought I want to say 2 or 3 months before that. Man, this is going to be a striker's delight. Both these guys got hands, and Mytebek Oyabal has hands too. He's going to be a big underdog in there because he's taking this fight on short notice. Urso Medic, they call him the doctor because he's like a surgeon with the hands too. He looked good in his last fight out against Semsenberger. He was able to put the lights out on him. And then he beat, who was it, Omar Morales. So he's riding a little 2-fight win streak. I was liking Urso Medic in the opponent that he was supposed to be taking on. In this one, I'm gonna sit back and watch. Yeah, man, Medic is one of the guys I like, you know, but this guy's dangerous, folks. I'm telling you guys, man, this guy's dangerous. I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't even know the odds yet or anything on it, but it's hard for me to pick because both these guys can strike, man, and damn, they're calling them up, man. Yeah. So I'm gonna tell you guys like this. Okay, steer you in the right way. Don't put Urso Medic in your parlay if he's a big favorite and you don't know anything about him and you just think, oh, he's gonna smoke this guy because he's a minus 300 or anything like that. Because I'm trying to tell you guys, the dog could be out the cage in that one, man. Next fight taking place on the main card. 2 women that we all came to, know in the division. Amanda Ribas, 11 wins, 4 losses, taking on Luana Pinheiro. Amanda Ribas is a big favorite on the card, She's one of those girls to where we all know what she's good at. She can push the pace, good striking, clean boxing. She can go for the takedowns. She can look to submit you. But when she gets hit, she doesn't react as good. Luana Pinheiro, okay. Last fight out against Michelle Waterson, was able to get the win. Then she was able to get the win in, I forget who else it was against. But, I like this girl. I think when it comes down to it, she's a little bit vicious. She's young, so she's still learning as she goes. I think this is a thing, though, to where veteran like Amanda Ribas might be able to just outclass her and know what to do based on the fight IQ. But raw skill, face-to-face fighting for 7-8 minutes, no stepping back. I think Luana might be live in there, man. Yeah, man. I'm going to go ahead and go with it. Yeah, man. I like Luana in this spot, man. She might be able to get this one done. Based on Amanda Ribas, I don't think it's that durable, man. We've seen her in a lot of fights already get staggered once she takes a little bit of controversy with strikes going to her chin. I'm not saying she's chinny. I'm just saying, she don't like to get hit. All right, next fight. Oh, wow. We got Peyton Talbot taking on Nick Aguirre. Peyton is a big favorite. I mean, he opened up a minus 500 favorite, slammed to a minus 800 favorite, made his UFC debut on the UFC Contender Series. I think he broke the record for the amount of strikes on the Contender Series. He's a clean striker, man. I mean, when you talk about somebody with the hands, we got one on there, folks, and he can push the pace all throughout the 15 minutes. Nick Aguirre, 7-1, coming through from APFC MMA. That's Anthony Pettis' fight promotion. 7-1, came up, made his UFC debut, lost in that one. Now he finds himself a big underdog. I mean, I think Peyton Talbot gets this one done inside the distance, if you ask me. I think he finishes him in round 2. KO. There we go. Next fight on the card. This one has a lot of people going back and forth. They don't know which way to go. All right, Chase Hooper, 12 wins, 3 losses, taking on Jordan Levitt, the Monkey King, 11 wins, 2 losses. Chase Hooper is a guy to where his striking, I'm not lying when I say this, it's not that good, folks. And I was going to say something else, but I'm not. But it's just bad, man. He keeps his hands down here. When he strikes, he goes like that. His hands are up. He's there to be hit. But He's tall for the division, and his frame gives people problems because he's out there to grab you and take you down at the ground and submit you, and he's great at that. That's what he's great at, right? The guy that he's fighting, Jordan Levitt, he's not that great at striking either, so that's how they kind of match up, on the feet. And he's the same type of caliber fighter. He wants to get you to the ground, Jordan Levitt, take you down, submit you, and wrestle and stuff like that. He's a great grappler. I think the dog's out the cage in this one. Chase Hooper's a -200 favorite, man. I like me some Jordan Levitt. I done made me some money with some Jordan Levitt before, man. I know all what he's about, man. Fight IQ is there. I give him an A. When it comes to the striking, I'm going to be honest, it's C-. When it comes to the wrestling, I'm going with B+. Cardio, I'm giving him a B. Fight resume, I'm giving him a C+. When it comes down to it as well, he made money for me time and time again. I don't think Chase Hooper is ready yet, to take that step. This is going to be a good fight for him. But, hey, man, I'm riding with my ninja in this one. Let's go, Jordan Levitt. The dog is out the cage. Let's go. All right, man. And by the way, man, so it's a few people out there I like to call a ninja. And this is one of them. The reason why I say that is because he really believes in mixed martial arts, okay? He's not one of these, fighters that's just became a fighter because they're athletic and they got into it because they can make some money. No, he was a real mixed martial artist back in the day, doing some real ninja stuff. So let's go ahead and get it done. Monkey King in this one. All right, next fight, co-main event. Michael Morales, 15-0, taking on Jake Matthews, 19 wins, 7 losses. Welterweight fight. Michael Morales looked good in his last fight out. Who was he fighting? Max Griffin, somebody I know dearly. Yeah, man, he was fighting a tough veteran, and he passed the test, man. He had a tough round 1, but besides that, he looked good striking, so yeah, man, he passed the test, man. Like that, in order to do this thing, you need to get through a veteran like Max Griffin, and he did, man. Jake Matthews, he surprises us in fights that he shouldn't. He wins fights that we think, oh man, he's not. I think he's a big underdog in this one. Michael Morales is like a -260, -270 favorite. I really think he gets this one done in here. I don't know how though, if it's inside the distance or by the decision, but I think Mike Morales wins. Next fight on the card, main event. Brandon Allen taking on Paul Craig. Brandon Allen, 22 wins, 5 losses. Coming from LFA. We all know about him. All right, Paul Craig, 17 wins, 6 losses, 1 draw. It's going to be wrestler versus grappler, submission artist versus submission artist. If you ask me, this is a fight to where I'm so surprised it's a main event. Brandon Allen's a big favorite on here, too. I think he opened up like a -270 favorite. Money came into him. I think it's like a -350, -400, 4-1 favorite now. Man, 5-round fight, best prop. This one ain't going the distance. I think it goes under 3 rounds, man. Brandon Allen is one of those fighters that's out there trying to finish his opponents in all ways possible and take you to the ground and submit you. And guess what? Paul Craig's doing the same thing. Paul Craig literally will lay on his back and wait for you and then go out there and submit you. In fights that he gets hit, he gets dropped, you go down there, he submits you. He's one of those guys to where you think he's out the fight, then he rolls around, breaks your egg, taps your ankle, and submits you. Time and time again, man. I'll tell you like this. Somebody's the fight's ending in submission. It's ending in submission. I think Brandon Allen gets this one done inside the distance. All right, now look, if you guys want to see what I'm betting on, my best bets, my premium picks, head on over to the site, Pick Dawgz. We got it all up there for you. Now look, man, I'm going to give you guys a solid little parlay to get you guys paid, okay? I think Lucas Alexander gets it done in that one. Mick Parkin gets it done in that one as well. And then you can go ahead and throw in Peyton Tablet and see what you guys get. Bulletproof parlay, 3 ways to get paid. And if you want to get a little bit more plus money, put Michael Morales in that one as well. All right, Millz Young here, part of Pick Dawgz. If you guys ain't rolling with the Pick Dawgz, stay on the porch. If you guys want to check out some of my interviews on some of these fighters and other up-and-coming fighters, check me out at MMA Locker Room on YouTube, Twitter, or wherever you guys want. But it's been real. We went over all the fights for you guys. Smash that like button for me and let me know what you guys are going to be betting on.